I want to be talking about a very important topic, presidential candidate Joe Biden's tax plan. This is not a pro-Biden speech. This is not a pro-Trump speech. I want to give as honest, transparent results. So I'm going to focus on tax strategies and what it means, not for our big corporations, not for regular Americans, what he has specifically said about small business. That's it. That's what we're going to cover. I want you to understand what these tax policies mean. I want the average American Main Street business owner to be able to understand these tax policies and procedures. I'm not telling you to vote one way or the other. I just want you to have all the facts. The four good things he's trying to do is he wants a true small business fund, $60 billion for small businesses with less than 20 employees. Number two, he wants to reduce burdensome regulations for certain industries. And then number three, he wants to do immigration reform so that you can, as a small business owner, hire more immigrants if you need to in your business. And then number four, he wants to support more funding for SBA and other organizations locally and regionally to help small businesses with education. Okay, so those are four things that he's already trying to say are good. Now, I guess I'm just going to dive into the 11. I got 11 things that you need to know about, and they're not all that great, but again, you just need to know. Okay, number one, this is the thing that's not great. A flat tax is harder on people with lower incomes. And a progressive system says we're going to have lower rates for those that make less money and higher rates for those that make more. Well, we already have that. But he wants to increase the rates at the higher levels. With the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, GOP and Trump, they reduced the rate down to 37, where now he wants to bring it back up to 39.6. What's crazy, you put that together with the California state rate, you could be paying 54% in your next dollar you earn in taxes in California as an example. Brutal. Number two, if you remember in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that became effective in 2018, it was a $2 trillion tax cut. He has said, quote unquote, very specifically, I want to get rid of a bulk of Donald Trump's $2 trillion tax cut. I want to go in there and cut that. 50% of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires by 2024. The rest is gone by 2025. So that big tax cut that we saw is set to expire. Now, why the GOP did this is because it was job insurance. It was employment insurance. Because if Joe Biden gets into office, he said, hell no, I am not renewing the bulk of those tax cuts. I want to get taxes back up. I'm going to not allow a lot of these write-offs. Now, what that means in summary, as a small business owner, whoever is in presidency the next 4 years will control these write-offs. All right. So that's point number two. For small business owners, a lot of these write-offs that we've been seeing are going to expire. And Joe Biden has specifically said, hell no, I am not renewing those. The third thing he said, I'm going to jump around here a little bit on my notes, is he said, we're going to increase minimum wage across the country to $15. And also on the reverse side, makes it very hard for business owners. Small business owners that have to pay $15 an hour to everybody across the board. And he wants to increase the Family Sick and Medical Leave Act, that's Family Medical Leave Act, to 12 weeks. Paid vacation or paid time off to go have a baby or you're sick or whatever. So if you're a small business owner and you have an employee that I'm sick or I'm having a baby, you got to pay my wages for the next 12 weeks while I'm out. Wow. All right. Number four, he wants to kill the 1031 exchange. Gone. Been very clear about that. Now, for those of you that don't know what a 1031 exchange is, in a nutshell, I can sell a property and go take the proceeds, and then I go out and replace the property with one of equal or greater value. Now that's at its most simplest form. When you do that, you don't pay any tax. No tax. But the tax stays in the new property and that basis carries forward, and you're going to pay the tax someday when you sell it. He thinks this is not fair. 1031 exchanges should be abolished. He also wants to get rid of flow-through losses. What? Now, how this works, if you've got a W-2 day job, or say you have a little small business, little 1099, or maybe you've got an LLC, or you've got an S-Corp, so you've got all this little ordinary income over here. You're making money, and it's all going to flow down to your 1040. All right, that's cool. That's great. Then over here, you go buy some rental property. Oh, cool. When I buy rental property, I might have losses, and that depreciation can wipe out the taxable gain. So I end up with cash flow, and I get this loss that flows through onto my individual return. He's saying, no way, don't like it. Number 6, he wants to increase capital gain rates. Now, right now, there's a 0% rate, a 15% rate, or a 20% rate. Now, what a long-term capital gain is, long-term capital gain. If you own a property or a stock for more than 12 months, when you sell it, you don't have to pay taxes at your regular rate. So if I make $1 million selling my business or selling my home, but you get to carve out that part and call it 20%. That's a good thing. And we're motivated to build our business so I can sell it and have this lower rate. Joe Biden says if you make too much money, you don't get this 20%, you're going to go up to 39.6. Now, I have a lot of clients that do not consider themselves rich, that own a little farm, own a rental property, a little fourplex. They may own a small business, and that's their retirement. And when they go to sell it, they could lose 40% to federal tax, not to mention state tax. If you're in a 10% state, that's 50% of your small business when you sell it goes to taxes. Number 7, let's say your grandma died and she had her own home and it was worth 400 grand. Now, if grandma was to have sold that during her life, she would have paid tax on 300 grand. Well, when grandma dies and you inherit it, your tax rate when you sell, or tax when you sell it the day after grandma died, if you choose to. 0. No tax. Stepped up basis to the value on the day grandma died. Joe Biden says no more. So if grandma dies, the IRS takes a picture. How much is grandma worth when she died? Since grandma made less than 11 million, she was worth less than 11,580,000, no estate tax. She's below the exemption. Well, here's the problem. Joe Biden says too high. Trump raised it way too high. It should be around 5 million. So if you're worth more than 5 million, which includes your life insurance and 401k and IRA and home and just want you to know that's the plan. So stepped up basis is gone. Estate tax exemption reduced. That's how we would say it. Let's jump to the 401k. Some of you love to put money in your 401k. In the last month, Joe Biden said, yep, only the rich really max it out. So they don't get as big a write-off for a 401k. Oh my gosh, talk about 401k is sacred land for so many people, right? And a small business owner that makes too much money, he's going to say, nah, you don't get a write-off for your entire contribution. So 401k contribution reduction, I'm going to say another way to say it is reduced deduction. And heaven help us if he wants to touch the backdoor Roth. Okay, number 10, he supports a ban on all unessential, I don't know the list, he didn't say, non-compete clauses. Sometimes your biggest risk is one of your employees stealing your idea and starting a business down the street. He feels non-compete clauses, for the most part, 90% of them are unessential and they should be removed. They should be banned across the country. Next, he supports, now for those in California, this rocked your world. There's about 9 other states that are doing this now. They're trying to force subcontractors and saying, you're really an employee. Now, who's got the big lawsuit on this? Uber. Uber is under a huge lawsuit from the state of California saying, those are all employees. We want you to pay FICA on all those people. It would be millions, if not billions of dollars. It would destroy Uber. Now, you may hate Uber. You may say, they're all employees. I work for Uber. They're jerks. Right now, they're giving all of their drivers a 1099. This ABC test starts to force people into this employee category. You can't have a side hustle with a 1099. I love a side hustle with a 1099. I want you to write off your auto and the kids and the fam and dining and my cell phone and TVs behind me. This is a write-off. It's a business. Well, if I'm an employee driving Uber, nope, you're not a small business owner. It's my car. Anyway, but you got to just know he supports the ABC test. All right. Now I've only got one more and we're going to wrap it up on this one. And this is a good one. And what's funny is that Joe Biden himself was using this strategy. This is important, everybody. I saved this for last because it's a really important one. If you're a small business owner, let's say you have an LLC and you have a small business, not a rental. I'm talking about just a regular small business. Whenever you make profit, so you got your income and you got your expenses. So income and expenses, your net, whatever that net is, you pay self-employment tax of 15.3%. So if you net $100,000, you're going to pay $15,300 in self-employment tax. Then you're going to pay Fed, and then you're going to pay state. Now, after all this, you get what's called a Qbi deduction, which is a 20% deduction. So off the $100,000, I get a deduction of $20,000, and I only pay tax on $80,000. All right, that's cool. Now, if you're an S Corp, and many of you have seen me talk about this before, if I net that same $100,000, I might take payroll of $40,000 and take net $60,000. And this would be a pass-through. Well, the beauty of this is I only pay 15.3% on this portion, which is around $6,000. So I saved close to $9,000 saved. But look at my QBI deduction is only 20% of $60,000. Ooh, that's only a $12,000 deduction. But look at this. This is a deduction where if I'm in a 30% tax bracket, I just save $4,000. Well, I'm still saving $5,000 because the net benefit of the FICA savings is off the chart. Joe Biden in his S Corp, Joe Biden has an S Corp. I love this. He avoided $500,000 in FICA taxes over 2 years. Over 2 years, he made $13.3 million. That was his net. That's cool. Speaking, books, whatever. So Joe Biden made $13 billion net, and he took a salary of $750,000. The rest he did pass through. Joe Biden himself saved $500,000 in self-employment tax. He must have read my book. I love it. Love the guy. I've been teaching this for 20 freaking years. I have a whole chapter in my book, and everybody that makes more than $50,000 a year should be thinking about an S Corp. And if you go, well, I'm an LLC, taxed as an S Corp. That's an S Corp. But if you're an LLC, you're not saving taxes. All right. Now, this QBI deduction right here, this 20% deduction, Joe Biden says, no way. We're getting rid of it. It's too expensive. I got more important things I want to pay for. Now, there's been talk of he'll phase it out at certain thresholds, then he won't. It'll just be gone. He wants to get rid of the C Corp, big corporate tax rate that was at 39, that went down to 21. He wants to bring that back. That, my friends, is what's called the QBI, or the 199A deduction, which is 20% of your net income. I am not trying to be anti-Biden. I'm not trying to be pro-Trump. I'm trying to be a small business owner. I want you to know that President Biden has a different agenda for America than small business owners building the economy per se. That's the summary of it. Don't give up, though. The American dream is still so powerful. I love it. I love small business. I want you to save taxes. It helps the economy, in my opinion, for what it's worth. And there's a lot of good things President Biden's for, or candidate Biden is for, and a lot of good and bad with President Trump as well. So you, I hope, can make an informed decision now, a little more accurately, now that you have a little picture into Biden's tax life.